Hello and welcome to another episode of DIY EV Chat. My name's Tom Cheesewright. If you've watched other videos on this channel, you know that I have been working on my own DIY EV for longer than I care to think about now. But in these episodes, I like to interview somebody else who's been crazy enough to do the same, to build their own electric car. And sometimes we have the pleasure of interviewing people from the other side of the Atlantic, such as we do tonight. Welcome to the podcast, Karim.
Hello, thank you, Tom, for having me today. It's an honor finally to meet you. I heard about you a lot, so
That's very nice to say. Very nice. So Karim's on his own YouTube channel where you can check out his projects. But before we get into that, and I particularly want to talk about his choice of car because it's a car that I've got a particular interest in. Let's talk about the day job because everyone always asks, how difficult is it to do? What skills do you need to do this? Karim, what's the day job and did you bring any skills from it to building your own EV?
so before we get to that, I don't want our viewers to think that this is strictly only those type of people, this type of jobs that do this sort of hobby. No. So just to answer your question, my full day job is I'm electromechanical engineer. I do have electrical background. I love mechanical, mash them together, did 2 degrees on them. Right now, I work in aviation aircraft, like aviation aircraft
Yeah.
company. It's not like any of the big names, but it's a new prototype technology. We're going actually to working with the side by side by the U.S. government. So that's my
Cool.
current day job. Mainly, I work on microcontrollers, circuitry. Um, I'm trying to keep myself analog. I know it's again is a stream, but yeah, I'm mostly analog. But I have my fair bit of software too. So this is a professional title sort of thing. But I've been a
Yeah.
tinkerer. I've been someone that messing around with cars for a very long time. I think I remember I did my first hit gasket was like when I was like 15 or something.
Wow.
So yeah, I do genuinely love cars. And again, our time right now, you really it helps to understand what a schematic is, but genuinely, you got YouTube Academy. You got this channel actually, you can learn a lot from it. So if
But
you like
you're
the
right,
hobby, go for it.
you don't have to be professionally qualified. Like, yeah, not everyone is. And actually, what I found from doing these interviews is people coming from lots of different backgrounds. So there's people who've got the mechanical experience, who've mucked around with cars for years. There's software people who've never picked up a soldering iron or a wrench before.
Yeah.
And there's electronics people, and there's people like you who've got a bit of everything back there. Have you done any electrically driven projects before, or was it all petrol before now?
No, I was like 100% all gas, all petrol. Like literally just like my first attempt to do an electric something was the first car I did. We're going to talk about that later down the road. But yeah, absolutely gas. I built a couple M3s. Again, part of the hobby, I actually like tracking cars. There's a couple raceways here. I go bash the car a little bit, drift it, hit it, break it, rebuild it, and just like repeat. So, but always gas, like high performance gas engines. Again, I'm pretty sure you have a question. What started the project or how this started? It,
Well,
again, it
I'm
was
interested in how you made that transition then. Like, what was the transition from gas guzzlers to EVs? Where did you stumble across the EV conversion community?
I think it's an influence of the environment for a second. As I mentioned, I live in California. California is like one of the strict states on the smog and emissions and
Yeah.
things. But again, it was the hometown, I would say home state for Teslas and like big names like that. And so again, California as a government too, they keep pushing more restrictions on gas cars. You cannot literally modify like an intake pipe in your car. Like literally, you cannot do that. It's not gonna be road legal. And now electric cars have like a lot of rebates, giving them support and stuff. So like, and I'll be honest with you, all this aside, don't care about it. It's about the performance. I'll be honest with you. Electric cars have huge performance compared to gas engines, and easily done compared to gas engines. So this is why it's kind of like, yeah, I'm getting older
Yeah.
cars and a lot of performance.
It's interesting. Like you've got California on one end of the spectrum, Florida on the other. Florida, where as far as I can tell, if it's got four wheels and some sort of motor, you can probably drive it legally.
You can generally drive a car without doors, without bumpers. It's just a frame and four wheels and a steering wheel. That's a car. It's good enough for them. So that's how it is. But the other side of that 6 hours, like to the west, and completely different. If you
Yeah.
have like a little, electric tape somewhere in the engine bay, which does not block by the manufacturer, that's it. You're failed.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I guess again, if you look across Europe, you'll get very, very different experiences in terms of getting an EV swap or any sort of modification through.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so it was the performance that made you want to do it.
yeah.
Have you had a chance to sort of benchmark what you've built against your previous builds?
Like the newer cars or the older
Yeah.
cars? So I would say the latest thing I did gas wise was like about like 330 something horsepower, natural aspirated, straight six, S50 modified stroke. So that's enough about gas. For the electric cars, I did not dyno genuinely any of the two cars, but the Beetle is running about so talking about the cars, so we're gonna start
Yeah,
1973
yeah, yeah.
Volkswagen Beetle,
So,
and
so yes, there's two projects. There's the Volkswagen Beetle,
yeah,
and there's the BMW.
yeah. So the Beetle have a small drive unit from Model S, and yeah, doing the math, I would say it's like 0 to 60 of a rev, like 4.2 seconds. So yeah, it did surprise me personally. It surprised a lot of people around me. I I I didn't dyno it, but I don't need to. Like, seriously, if I'm gonna like, put it in a dyno and just like get that, I would say let's just take the lower end of this motor at like, pulling 550 amps, like, because I can
Wow.
see my peaks out of power coming out of it.
So
So,
okay, so let's rewind a little bit. The Beetle. What made you want to do a Beetle?
oh my God, it's just
Is it the California thing again?
part of it, because it's 1973. So 1975 is the cutoff for, I think Greg talked about this with you before, is the
Mm,
cutoff for the emission and all the nonsense for California for all this emission stuff. Anything before that, they kind of have to draw the line because they cannot force classics to meet newer technology. So 75 is the cutoff. I did actually. So the Beetle was not intended at all to be that car to be converted. It actually was a Golf MK4 2004 or two. That was like the
okay.
car I wanted to do. I actually had the car. I'd driven it for about 6, 7 months planning the EV stuff. And right about pulling the trigger and buying stuff, I was in the process of buying the batteries. It got totaled. Someone hit the car parking outside the house, like literally just like done, gone. Like, hmm. So they end up paying me for the car. It's a very old car, 320,000 miles on it. Like it was just like a
Wow.
completely dying car, but it did drive as gas. So it died. It got totaled. And then this time I got the money for it. And then I said, okay, let's get another one or get push the limit a little bit, push the bar a little bit. And I found this 1973 straight body, no rust, non-running, well, temporary, um, right, like 20 miles away from me. And the
Brilliant.
price was good. I did not pay much. Like, we just moved from a Volkswagen that is a 2004 MK4, just like to about 25 years older, right? So I got the Beetle. It was running very rough. You need to, when I first picked it up, it was dead. I had to jump start it, but the body of the car was straight and clean and no rust. It's an
That's the
Arizona
important bit.
car. It's an Arizona car, so it was like even drier than California. And
Just
to
some
California,
dust
so
in it.
it's just an ugly car, but it's straight, no rust. I got the car, and at this point, and let's see what we got EV stuff. Of course, we're gonna talk about the big name. You know that this is coming. So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so, being here in California, I actually did have a relation. I wouldn't say a relationship, it's kind of sort of friendship, sportsmanship sort of thing because we were in the same scene. I've been always with BMW, so about 10 years ago, I actually knew on a personal level Michael Brem from AV West. AV West is one of the, I would say one of the people actually who made kits to make this sort
Yeah.
of do-it-yourself conversion started early on, about like roughly 10 years ago. This is like, we're not going to talk about the performance or the pricing or that, agree or not, it's a different thing. But they
But
did
they helped to
actually,
popularize the
yeah,
idea,
they
certainly,
did.
particularly for Volkswagens.
Yes, Volkswagen. So they actually mapped the road for that. And they were literally in Escondido, which was like literally 20 miles away from me. So I did meet him when he did the M3, the BMW E36 M3. That's the very first EV car he did before even the
Wow.
kids and Volkswagen. So I've known him with that. So this is where I sparked, okay, yeah, let's just like do electric. And now EV West, they actually started making kits for Tesla small drive unit to fit into a Volkswagen, but they never actually did a car at this time. So literally, my car is almost one of the very few five that actually got the subframe from them.
Wow.
So I got the design from the subframe. They were already working on it, but it was not done, was not finished, was not tested, had major problems. So I got it. I got the design file. I even, to a certain point, I bought the design file and I remodified it and made it for the car. And the rest is just like down the hill from there. We just we needed a control logic board. There is other options, but again, I like doing things myself. I did not come cheap on this car, but did not want to pay more than what I paid for that car.
Mm.
And again, I do have the skills to solder, read schematics, modify, and doing things. So, and then again, you heard this joke multiple times on this channel. I saw the cat video. So I have a cat.
It's that
So.
Damien again.
Yeah, it's Damien again. So yeah, started getting to know about do-it-yourself electric website. It was very active a couple of years ago. Right now, it's kind of
Mm.
like holding still, I would say. And
Yeah.
then from
Open inverter's a
that,
bit busier.
open inverter is like now where things are like actually people are actually developing, people are actually doing. And Damien was active on open inverter when I did the project because I did the Beetle actually about 3 years ago.
Mm.
Almost 3 years ago now. So got in touch with Damien. I believe in open source, but in the same time, if you develop something, because I'm in development. This is what I do professionally. So you did a lot of effort. So you really need to get some sort of compensation for it. So I did actually plan my system. I know that I need a logic board for the STU. I'm running Tesla Gen 2 charger as well. So got one of those. I need a logic board for that too. Um, uh, Tom DeVry, I bought from him a Sim BMS as well for the battery management system. So this, I bought the boards from them. That's
Yeah.
the first running thing. Just to pay them off, got the board shipped across the US, got them here. And I started actually putting things together. Just a quick note on that. Thank you for your channel because you're actually connecting a lot of dots together. So I never met Damien other than the emails. I, chat a little bit. He does know me by name right now because other development I'm doing with the BMW. So we share a lot of things together. But Tom DeVry,
Gotcha.
same thing. We met about email. I even actually didn't know about Greg, the good enough garage thing, but
Yeah. Not
I
that.
met
I mean, you're in the same
I
state at least.
well, we are in the same state, but we're like 500 miles away from each other. Actually, did meet him last week in person.
Brilliant.
But the thing I mentioned about Greg is the one who introduced the BMW plug-in hybrid EV batteries. He actually found those, got a good deal on it. He actually posted other listings that he wanted to buy the batteries, and I jumped on him. I bought them.
Brilliant.
So I bought his listing. So
So,
and
so did you just on the Beetle then? Did you go for Tesla batteries in the Beetle as well?
no, these are the batteries running the Beetle right now is a 3-pack of a 530E 9
Okay.
kilowatt pack. So I got three of them, battered them together. I
Yep.
bought one Sim BMS from Tom. I was under the impression that I can run all three together because they're CAN bus, but turns out that some technical limitations, like fixed ID and stuff. So
Yeah.
I got one from Tom, and I gave myself a permission to respin the board and make another two. So I did a double sim with the main sim I bought from Tom. I made them communicate together. I have one as a master, the other two are slaves, and I'm running each pack on its own battery management system.
Gotcha.
So So yeah, that's a bit on a nutshell. So it's a SD unit from a 2018 Model X, not an S. I found out this by chance. I had doubts about some gearing differences, but a lot of people say like, no, it's just what you think it is. It's the same gearing, but they genuinely have a different low end torque than other cars. But hey, it's fine. It's a
That's cool.
small car. Running a Tesla Gen 2 charger. What else? Same BMS management system, 9.1 kilowatt BMW plug-in hybrid battery, so total 27.
Have you
And
upgraded the brakes at all?
yes. The car actually, I'm pretty sure in the editing can show some pictures, but the car actually right now sits about 1.5 inch lower. It's running on 17 inches, Porsche 930 brakes.
Nice.
It- Even that was not enough to stop the car from like, the speeds I'm doing right now. So I have regen dialed in as well. So that without the regen in the car is a little bit sketchy to drive. But with the regen, it stops like a motor car.
Where are the batteries mounted?
Oh man. So the Beetle is a rear end, the rear wheel drive car. So
Yeah. You need some
the
weight up front.
yes, and actually it did fix a major problem with the car. These cars originally from the factory, 80 years old design. They were like almost 65-35 weight distribution. They were terrible.
Yeah,
And
well,
as soon
trust
as
me, I my first car was one, and I drove it in snow.
actually they were doing good in the snow though. But
They do all right in snow until you lose the back end, and then it goes horribly wrong.
yeah, so here in California, we drive it over roads and kind of we do a little bit faster. So this car, when it was gas, I was doing like literally 75, 80 miles per hour on it. That's like killing the car, but I'm going, right? So, but the car around 65, it's like literally you're steering, no power steering, nothing, just a steering box, but with a small, really tiny wheels in the front before I put the
Mm.
17 inches now. The car would genuinely seems flying. It just like drives on its own. So this is where the batteries actually made a big difference. So the car is now lowered, inch and a half lowered. It has 225 millimeter width tires back and 215 front. So
Wow.
it's a wider wire, 17 inches. And now it have the Tesla motor in the back, which is let's call it like head to head, same weight as the transaxle on the motor. And
Yeah.
now I have two-thirds or two of the packs of the batteries where the storage compartment used to be inside the car. So that's a
Gotcha.
lot of weight in the back. But at the same time, I have a whole battery bag in the front. So that's, I would say, easy.
Balances things out a little bit.
400 pounds or something. And then I have the Tesla charger in the front too. I have a couple of coolant pumps. I got the spare tire still fits in the car. So yeah. And the car
Cool.
looks very sorted. Right now, the car, I would say, I did not weigh it again. I'm not talking with actual measured numbers, but the car genuinely, I feel it's like 55-45, which is almost perfect balance.
Yeah.
Now the car, with the custom alignment, I had to do custom alignment for this car in the back specifically. Now the car, I kid you not, I can do about 75, 80 miles per hour, and I take my hands off the steering wheel and go straight.
Nice.
Not worried about it at all. Default 120 is fine. So
Now, tell me about your other car, because this is what I'm particularly interested in. This one, you picked a, shall we say, not universally popular BMW.
again, it's love it or hate it. Both opinions respected. So it's a BMW E60. We don't have E61s here, or like very, very rare ones, imported sort of thing.
Right.
So, but the E60, because it's a love-hate relationship. It's a really advanced car back in the time with the iDrive system and all the stuff and all this new styling. I genuinely believe it's a good looking car. It's a car that never outdated. The style still goes on, competes right now, 20 years later. It's a perfectly good car. But it
I
was,
agree. I think they're a modern classic in the waiting. First big Bangle design. I think it's going to be. I think people are going to.
I wouldn't say a modern classic, but it's not terribly bad car.
And no, I reckon you're going to see what's happened to E39, what's sort of still happening to E39 values now, I think E60 values are going to go the same way in a few years. I think people are going to, it's quite often happens that cars that people hate when they're new become very desirable later on.
But the A39 was never hated. It was actually a brilliant car.
Everyone always loved the E39, but the E60 people did hate, and I think they're going to change their minds.
Yeah, so because it's a hated car for some other people, it's very cheap. So here's the thing. I love the Beetle, but the reason I got the second conversion was the Beetle is a performance brilliant car. I love this car. I genuinely have sentimental value for it. It got me a lot of jobs. Like literally, I went through interviews because of that car. So, but the Beetle, it's a 80-year-old design, 50-year-old car specifically. So that car is 50-year-old rolling. So it's a sheet metal car. So I started having issues with this car. It's a small car. It's kind of roadster two-seater right now because the rear seat is useless now because the battery pack. And it's a small car, no airbags. And I hate noises in the car. I hate any car that makes creaks and noises. So when you take the engine out, the boxer engine out, now you hear what the car actually is doing. Now, and it's just driving me nuts. So this is why I compensated with a big sound system in the car. So I don't need to hear that. So, but back to the BMW. I wanted a car that is spacious, big, does not look like it was mangled, the Beetle, like the Beetle, and ABS, airbag, Bluetooth, heated seats, AC, heater, everything. I want full amenities in the car. I didn't even want the check engine light in the car. So this was my requirement for this car. I don't need to have the performance of the Beetle, so it's a reduced performance, but I got a big range now, 125 or something on the BMW. And I need to get that. So let's start with the size. I need a big car. So, and a cheap car too. The Beetle did cost X amount of money. And I want to talk about that, but I didn't want to spend the same again in the Beetle. So, and it was a cheap car. So I picked up this 2005 530i, right? It was in a very close distance from me. It was listed for, the guy listed it for like about like 3-4 grand or something like this. I went to check the car. It did have problems with the iDrive, and when there's a problem with iDrive, you have a problem in a lot of parts of the car.
Yeah.
So I picked up the car for like $2,200, and I drove it home. I was driving past smog, so no major issues. Did have plates, but the car does not look working. So did have problem. I had active steering in this car. It's a system that's supposed to be brilliant, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna ask a question. What was the most difficult thing in the conversion?
You can tell me now.
I will tell you it's the active steering of BMW, not the EV stuff. Anyway, got that fixed. Drove the car for gas because like before I commit to a project, I want to make sure that the car actually doesn't have any other problem that I would need to discard the car. So I drove the car for about 6 months, perfectly fine, commuting to work and coming back. Everything was working fine. Fixed all the problems, BMW. Again, it's a very problematic cars, electrical wise. I'm an electrical engineer, know about BMWs, have software that I can communicate with the modules and clear codes and stuff. So I got the car really working perfectly fine, like not a single problem with it, not even a check engine light or a warning light on it. So, and that's it. I committed to that car. And
so what? So you said it was going to be a not quite the same power levels. What have you gone for conversion wise in the BMW?
Again, the BMW is a controversial car, so I went to a controversial system again. So instead of being a controversial with the BMW and mechanical cars, it's now a new controversial thing with the open inverter forum and like, you know, the do-it-yourself EV, the GS 450 hybrid from a Lexus. So a lot of people who used it, I'm pretty sure, you know, I'm pretty sure Jamie, you, me, like a lot of people actually did use the system, know what's capable of, but a lot of other people that just reading posts, I would say, they never experienced the raw power for it. They are controversial about it, that it's not gonna go this fast. It needs this X amount of voltage, all this nonsense.
600 volts and all this.
Yeah. So I did. I do not want to say because I'm an engineer. I tell you, and I know that motors does not run on voltage, runs on current, so it doesn't matter. You can run it with 12 volt if you have a couple thousand amps. That's fine. But again, we're not going to get to this debate. So I went with that system. Um, from the Beetle project, I did learn a couple of tricks: how to negotiate an EV part, how to buy parts, the drivetrain, like, the Tesla motor and the three BMW batteries, each was easy. 500, 600, 700, 800 pounds. You can ship them pallets. So I learned a couple of tricks how to negotiate and shipping and get him to my house. So one guy who helped me, I knew him from eBay, but I got his business numbers. I called him straight and I told him I'm looking for XYZ specs parts. Find them. He did find a whole car with every part I needed: the inverter, the motor. I tried to find the connector, the unobtainium connector sort of thing, but he didn't find it. But I was like, okay, it's fine. So, and I told him I want this part shipped to my house in California. He actually used to live where Greg is, Greg Good Enough Garage. So like literally, Greg lives in a very close proximity to a very major city who actually does a lot of spare parts and car dismantling sort of thing. So he was there. So called him, arranged the shipping. So the whole thing came about $1,000 shipped to my door. That's
Amazing.
pretty good. That's a pretty good price because I was thinking, at least it's gonna be like 3, 4 grand, and I need to part them and source them. Especially that car is very rare here in the US. So the
Yeah, so I
450H
hear.
is rare. It's not like, again, America, we love big V8, V10s. We don't do hybrid and EVs. So very rare. Got the parts. I wanted to buy a zombie better. I want to at least rebuild the boards, but I found a local in San Diego, found me on the forum that like I was asking about something, and he's like, "Hey, I live in San Diego too with you." Back in when I used to live in San Diego. Oh, you want a zombie board? I will give you a zombie board. He gave me a bear board. He built some, and he had an extra board that they were bare. So I got my
Nice.
parts, populate them, build them myself, flash the hex code on it. Now I have a working zombie. The unobtainium connector was a little bit of tug and pull. I found the inverter on eBay, called the guy, I want the connector. Sure, made a deal, $70, ship, plug it in. And that almost in June, I got all the AV parts outside the car spinning, ready to be populated in the car. And I got laid off from work.
Oh,
So it's a terrible thing, but
you had lots of time at least.
yeah, yeah, that's like, so I kid you not, Tom. The Beetle took about in the work, in planning and work about year and 2 months. Let me tell you that the BMW, I bought it in February, planned the parts. I got more, planned and bought most of the parts till like, May, June layoff, September running. That's it. So, and it's not running, it's running as I want it to be. So, like,
Brilliant.
yeah. So the car was like very, very quick. And the project came together really, really nice. Now, just like overall specs on the car. So, it's a GS 450 hybrid drivetrain. That's inverter and motor. That transmission or the motor sort of thing, it does have actually two gears.
Yeah.
Till now, as far as I know, nobody actually made the automatic shifting work. I did actually make the automatic shifting work. So the car now can actually shift on its own by the zombie code to do low gear, certain RPM, so down, change gears, and that's good.
Nice.
And the only part that I needed to make it custom is the drive shaft for the car. I lucked out that the two prop shafts are output and input for the BMW drive shaft is same size but different length. Found a shop, got it. This is the only thing that actually did cost me money. I kind of like, it was hard because I need to have it balanced, $450 alone just to do the drive shaft. But got that lined up.
Yeah. If it
Batteries
comes
get.
out nice and it balances and
Oh
everything,
yeah, no,
it's
no, no.
worth it.
It's just fitting right in. Batteries came from a Chevy Bolt 2018,
Okay.
a full pack. So full pack. the very early Chevy Bolt were actually 57 kilowatt, not the 62 kilowatt. But I got a very good deal on it. Like I bought the whole pack for $3,000.
Wow.
And that's a price that even again, just to let you guys know something, your prices in Europe, it's much, 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 much lower than here because you have a lot of
Yeah.
EVs and have a lot of people breaking them. But here it's very rare, and people think that EVs are diamonds. So it's kind of like, and they're dangerous. So they're expensive. So I got the battery back for $3,000. That's even by European prices, good price. So
Yeah.
got that again in the 3 months of the layout between June and September. I did the layout in CAD, mechanical. I actually learned how to weld, like most of us in this channel, right? Everybody learned how to weld in the project. Learned how to weld. I lucked out so much that the battery box fits where the engine used to be, and the same engine
Perfect.
mounts made it to the transmission by the block plate, welded them together, and it just like fits like a little, what can I say, like a little bracket sort of thing. It's just like, two bolts goes together,
Just
two
drops
nuts,
in.
and yeah. So if any nut come loose, I shouldn't have any problems. Actually, already seated each other. So, and it fits where the original engine transmission mount, which the original BMW transmission mount used to be. This is the back of the prop shaft to the original differential. Changed the differential about a month ago because I did not like the gearing. Made the auto shifting. I recoded the whole car to genuinely to so my dashboard right now, RPMs and speed. Yeah, RPM with the electric motors, MG2, and speed. And I did actually code the mile per gallon. You have a Z3, so you know what the mile per gallon, the useless gauge that BMW actually nobody likes it. I recoded that to show current coming out of the battery in and out. Um,
Nice.
pretty did out. And the fuel gauge, I recoded it to actually show the battery capacity. Um, the car is a pre-facelift, so I needed to get a facelift shifter because it's CAN bus driven. I got
Right.
that, reworked it, tapped it into the car. So if you look at pictures in the car inside and you sit in the car, you will not tell that this car is EV. It's 100% BMW. Not a single hole or a button or something in the car. Everything's just like,
Brilliant.
it's up. For charging, again, Tesla Gen 2 charger. Right now, I'm running the BMW i3 Lim to have the charge controller.
The
Uh,
CCS.
and I wanted to have CCS, but I was not successful yet to get CCS. One time I tried it out and I got locked. So there is something wrong with the sequencing. Again, thanks Damien for doing the breakthrough in that. But again, Damien is using CCS two, and
Mm.
and this car is CCS one. So because like I'm in America here, so I'm only known there's only one car that got CCS one working here by Zombies Code and didn't work right away too. It was had problems in it. So
Okay.
again, I'm still working on that. That's like
Some
the last.
tinkering to do.
That's the last step in the car. I want to have fast charging because here we drive a lot. Like I can do 120 miles. It's just like one trip, and after that, I need to go back home. So I
Yeah.
need CCS.
Yeah, it's very different culture there.
Yeah. Other than that, it does have AC. So I have
Awesome.
cold
Is that
AC.
is that a Tesla piece of Tesla part again
Yes,
for the compressor?
so there's a lot of mix and match part of this car. So the compressor is a Tesla Gen 2 can control Model S compressor. I have heater in the car, so that's a Volkswagen Audi e-tron
Okay.
Limbus control heater. I have a power. Oh, I need to rub this in all the European faces. One of the things that everybody hates about do-it-yourself electric cars, the power steering pump, and I think why are you guys stuck with the Zafira or the Screamer power steering pump? Everybody hates it; it's too loud and stuff. I actually, in my very first video on YouTube, I actually had to say that. I said, just for our fellows across the pond, I can't have a power steering because it's not loud. I'm actually running a dot charger. It's a power steering pump here, scan control. Power steering pump here in the US, it's so quiet.
Oh,
Like
get out.
I run the car. I'm talking about so quiet. That's the latest thing. Again, I'm showing off a little bit. This is the latest thing I did in the car. Like literally, I tested it 2 days ago. I got a pedestrian warning system. You know, the noise that
Yeah, yeah.
EVs does. I got one from a Hyundai Kona, and I actually coded it to Zombie and wired it to the car. So now, as soon as I start the car, the noise you hear, not the power steering, it's a PWS warning system. It's like
How
a
much did that set you back? Because I don't know anybody who's bought one of those.
$50.
Really?
Less than $50, I would say, because like generally,
Awesome.
I found like a PWS system. Again, all these parts, just like the rule of thumb here for anybody considering a project like this. Rule of thumb is all the parts are salvaged, all the parts are recycled, all the parts are like get used parts. So
Mm,
you save money, and this is the fun of it. This is the project. This is the fun. You're attacking unknown, uncharted areas, and you see what you do. So the Hyundai Kona one, and nobody actually messed around with it, but I found from a different project I'm working on some CAN logs for that car, powertrain CAN logs. I got the CAN logs, played with them a little bit. Another post, I'm looking online, and found the IDs for that. It's CAN control. So I found the ID that the PWS system needs, which is the drive, its ignition on and off, and the
yep.
RPM of the motor to
Yeah.
vary the pitch of the sound. I identified the CAN buses here. I got multiple, Savvy CAN, all these controls that you can play, sniff CAN bus and sync CAN bus. Where I'm talking to you right now, this is my computer, this is my workstation. I mess around with things and it starts making noises. I got the same thing. Again, my zombie code. Again, I appreciate Damien and Tom and everybody who actually working on the code. It's a very
Mm,
hard job, and
likewise.
it's a very hard job. And with right now, it's very popular right now. The last thing I know that it was like about 1,000 units sold on the market right now from Zombie, which is good for Damien, but at the same time comes with a great responsibility. So
Yeah.
I get his point that he needs to test everything and go regression testing on it. But this is something that a lot of people did not agree with me recently. I tend to get ideas, test them. I try to do as much as redundancy and safety stuff before I actually take them on the road, and I do take them to the road in a controlled environment, kinda, right? But yeah, this is where we get a little bit of I would say argument. Hey, you're not responsible only about your car. You're responsible about the whole image of the EV community. Again, no intention to destroy this image, but I push my limits a little bit. I'm messing around like 450 volt in the car. Work wise, I'm messing around like very dangerous things too. So this is like runs in the DNA, I would say. So
Yeah.
my zombie code is very implemented just to work on the BMW and the extra features I'm adding to my own car. If anybody would like actually to see a bits of the codes, we need to have one-on-one conversation so I know what's the intention of the code is. And after that, I'm more than happy to share the source code. I'm not sharing hexes. I'm not sharing binaries because it's the worst thing. When I share a hex code with you, you know what you're doing. But binary, you just flash it and we spin wheels.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Very
heavily
cool.
modified car. But other than that, it's been awesome. Like literally, I couldn't ask for more. Big car, good horsepower, good range, and AC and heater. And what? That's it.
Brilliant. Right, three quick questions before we wrap up.
Yeah,
You've talked about the biggest challenges. What's been the most rewarding aspect of the project?
getting jobs. I
I love
know.
that you got a job off the back of it.
Look, I'm really proud of my toys, right? So again, the last two jobs I have, so this one and the one before, I was not just an electrical engineer. So I'm an electrical engineer by trade, like degree in electrical engineering in Egypt, originally from Egypt, moved here, another electrical degree here, was working communication, a big name here. So electrical only was already established. I have the work, I have the experience, but I wanted something to get my hand dirty. I want to do wrenching while I'm doing electrical, right? So So I have to justify and sell this. And how would I say that? But she was like, hey, I just made a car electric. I have a classic car and I did that. So, and it's a strategy too. So if you, again, I'm just giving you some trade secrets here, but if you are doing an interview, you do not want to be on their end. You want to be in your end. You want the question to be asked to you in your experience, not their experience. So it's a little bit of method. I send the curveball. I tell them I converted the car to electric, and now the attention comes to what I did in the car. Of course, it's engineering questions, but now I know what I'm gonna be asked on.
It's your
So
topic.
yeah. So my very first job, I was not quite finished with the Beetle at the time. So I got the job 2 months before I finished the Beetle, and then I finished the Beetle and I brought it to me to work. I kid you not, Tom, this is the best. This is answering your question, the most rewarding thing. Half of the company was in the driving lot or in the parking lot looking at the car and like literally we would spend I had a 10 minutes or 15 minutes break. This is like for a whole 2 weeks, a daily portion of the day. I have to go and show the car around, including my boss, his boss, division director. Like, I even give rides on it. So, and I scared the hell out of him. So, 73 car, like 1,200 pounds or 1,500 pounds is the most right now with 300 horsepower, mostly at the peak. It does pull. So
I'm
yeah,
not surprised.
that's the most rewarding part of it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What's your favorite tool?
Oh my God, I have a lot, but I would say a Dremel.
Okay.
Or a block of wood. That works too. But
Greg style.
yeah, no, Greg. I actually saw Greg's garage. He's brilliant. I met him in person. I was around the area and I stopped by him like 2 weeks ago. But yeah, the hammer, a Dremel, and a block of wood. You'll be surprised what a block of wood can do. You lift the car up. You can do a lot. You drill on it.
I,
So.
I'm just jealous of Greg's enormous compressor. Right, final question. What's next for your projects? You said you were looking at some Hyundai Kona logs. Has that got anything to do with it?
It's my next project. I'm tempted to do another one, but my girlfriend saying like, hey, enough toys. So, and I have my daily car too. So I have the two cars. I like to can have my daily car too, which is still gets a fair share of maintenance stuff. Car guy is always a car guy. I think my next project, I would say, I will get the car legally registered in California as an EV because this car is post 1975. I did already
Yeah.
start the project. I did call them around. As far as California being, with gas cars, they're very sweet and cute with electric cars. To the point that you want to convert your car, do it. We'll register it for you. We'll give you even money if you do it. Like literally, we'll give you money.
Brilliant.
So the steps were I just got to get it inspected. That's something called the bar. You're gonna give me a statement of facts and it go back to the EV, to the DMV, give him the paper. Now the car is fully electric, officially 100%, and they don't bother me with smog anymore. So that's one thing I want to do. The BMW, I just need to finish the fast charging, which is the CCS. Again, one of the critical requirements for me. I need to have fast charging. I'm either fixing the limb, the i3 limb I'm doing, or I have another thing I'm in the books right now I'm doing on. So that and that. I should take a break before my girlfriend divorced me until hey, enough cars. So, okay. But we'll see.
Brilliant. Well, listen, I love your enthusiasm and I love your projects as well. As a former Beetle owner, and I hope a future E60 BMW owner, I think they're excellent choices, whatever anybody else says.
If you decide to do the E60, specifically the E60 or the E61 or E63 and
E61,
5, yeah. So if you decide to do that, the material I got, not necessarily the drivetrain, the EV, or even zombie. No, the specific material I got, how to code things, how to do stuff. I can help you with that.
Brilliant.
Again,
well, it'll run as a gas car for a little while if I do get one.
That's the right way to do it. That's the right way to do it. You gotta know your car before you commit to it.
Yeah, I'm looking at a 530D, so we shall see. Right, listen, I must go. We must wrap this up. Thank you so much, Karim, for joining me all the way from California.
No,
Much
thank you.
appreciated.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks you all for watching as well. Do subscribe, more of these to come, and more usual videos as well. I might even get my own car back on the road sometime in the next couple
Looking
of
forward
weeks.
for that, and I appreciate having me in your channels again. It's a great honor. Somehow it was a big scene in Europe and the UK because the legends are there. But yeah, I'm really honored to be part of this elite
It's
thing.
brilliant. Well, listen, you'll have to come over at some point. I do think there must be a DIY EV meetup to be had at some point.
And if the stars lines up, you might be there. I might be there. So yeah,
Brilliant. And if not, I'll see you in California. Bye bye.
always welcome. Thank you.